If you've ever shopped for a new set of tires, you've probably seen a massive price difference between something that costs like $80 a tire versus something that costs like $300, $400 a tire. And at first glance, they kind of all look the same: round, black, rubber tread pattern. But is that price difference just a fancy logo on the sidewall, or is there real engineering behind it? Today we're breaking it all down. Let's start with the budget side. We're talking brands like Ironman, Accelera, Lexani. Tires that usually fall in that $80 to $150 a tire range. Depending on your size, you can get a full set of 4 for close to what a single premium tire costs. And for most day-to-day driving, they get the job done. On the other side, you've got the big names: Michelin, Continental, Bridgestone, Goodyear. These are typically $150 to $350 plus per tire, and depending on the size, especially if you're running a bigger rim, a truck/SUV, or a high-performance summer tire, it's easy to push past $500, even $650 a tire. So what are you really getting for all that extra cash? That's what we're digging into today. Quick heads up before we go further. These numbers are ballpark ranges, not a fixed price list. What you actually pay depends on your tire size. A smaller passenger car size is way cheaper than a big truck or performance size. Your region, since shipping and local competition affect pricing, and the time of year, since promotions, rebates, and manufacturer pricing shift constantly. So treat these as a reference point, not gospel. The first major difference, and the one that drives most of the cost, is the compound. What is this stuff actually made from? Premium performance tires often use proprietary rubber blends, sometimes multiple compounds across the same tread. A harder compound on the inside for stability and longevity, and a softer compound on the outer edges for grip in the corners. That's tech you're just not going to find on an $85 tire. Budget tires, on the other hand, typically stick to a single compound built for one general purpose, mostly all-around daily driving. And it's not just about stickier rubber. It's about how that compound responds under pressure, heat, and when it's pushed to the limb. High-end tires often feature reinforced belts, stiffer sidewalls, and an optimized internal structure. The stuff that gives you that responsive feel when turning or braking. But here in the US, this matters for more than just performance feel. Depending on where you live, our roads take a beating. Potholes that show up every winter after the freeze-thaw cycle, cracked pavement, patched up sections on older highways. Cheaper tires tend to have thinner, more flexible sidewalls, which means a higher chance of a bubble, a bulge, or even a sidewall blowout when you hit a bad pothole. Something almost every American driver has dealt with at some point. Premium tires, with reinforced construction, handle that kind of daily impact a lot better. And here's something that applies to two different types of drivers. If you're mostly running interstate and highway miles, the pavement's usually smoother, but you're dealing with sustained high speeds and heat buildup from friction. That's where a premium tire's stability and heat resistance really shows. If you're more of a backroads or rural route driver, the challenge is different. That's where sidewall toughness against potholes and rough pavement matters most. Either way, the internal construction is what's being tested. It's just tested differently depending on how you drive. This is where the US gets a little more complicated than most countries, because depending on where you live, you're dealing with completely different weather. Premium manufacturers design their tread patterns using CFD simulation, computational fluid dynamics, basically a computer model that tests how water moves through the tread. Then they back it up with real-world testing at massive proving grounds. We've actually been to the Continental Tire Proving Grounds in Texas, and it's an insane setup. Skid pads, test tracks, an 8.5-mile high-speed oval. If you're in a Rainier region, the Pacific Northwest, the Southeast, the Gulf Coast, what matters most is wet braking distance and hydroplaning resistance. That's the number that actually matters in real driving. How many extra feet it takes a bad tire to stop on a wet road compared to a premium one. If you're up in snow country, the Midwest, the Northeast, the mountain states, you're dealing with a different problem entirely. Snow traction, ice grip, and whether your all-season tire actually has the 3-peak mountain snowflake rating or if it's just calling itself all-season, without the testing to back it up. A lot of budget all-seasons technically claim to handle winter but fall apart the moment temperatures drop and the compound stiffens up. And if you're somewhere hot and dry, the Southwest, the desert states, the issue is different again. Intense heat and UV exposure dry out cheaper compounds faster, which can lead to cracking over time even without much rain or snow at all. Bottom line, premium tires are tested across all of these conditions. Budget tires usually aren't. They're built for one general SC. Inario. Real quick before we keep going. If you've been watching this and already have your eye on one of these tires we're showing on screen, whether it's the budget option or the premium one, you don't need to go bouncing between 5 different tire shops trying to figure out who's got the best price or who you can actually trust. Every tire we're showing throughout this video, plus a few more options, has a direct link down in the description so you can compare and buy without bouncing between 5 different tire shops trying to figure out who's got the best price. Just click the link popping up on screen right now, or the one pinned in the description. Back to it. Here's a point most people get wrong. An expensive tire doesn't automatically last longer, and a cheap tire doesn't automatically wear out fast. This comes down to the tread wear rating, basically the durability of the rubber compound. A high-performance 200 tread wear tire, like a Falcon RT660 or a Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2, is going to grip like crazy, but you're not getting a ton of miles out of it. Grip equals friction. Friction equals wear. Meanwhile, a budget 400-plus tread wear all-season tire might outlast that premium tire by tens of thousands of miles, just with less overall performance. So it comes down to what you actually need, performance or mileage. Rarely both at once. A few practical things that make a real difference no matter which tire you go with. First, check the DOT date code on the sidewall. It's a 4-digit number. The first 2 digits are the week, the last 2 are the year. A tire that's been sitting in a warehouse too long loses quality even if it's never touched the road. So don't just shop on price. A too cheap tire that's been sitting around can already be drying out before it's even mounted. Second, respect the load index and speed rating listed in your owner's manual. Swapping in a close enough generic tire outside that spec just because it's cheaper can actually compromise the vehicle's safety, especially if you're hauling a load or doing a long highway trip. Third, and this one's simple but people skip it, tire pressure. It doesn't matter if your tire cost $85 or $500. Running the wrong PSI cancels out almost all the engineering we just talked about. Underinflated tires burn more gas, wear unevenly, and seriously hurt your wet braking distance. Most cars built in the last 20 years have a TPMS light for a reason. Don't ignore it. And last, rotation. Rotating your tires roughly every 5,000 to 7,500 miles helps them wear evenly and stretches the life of the whole set. That applies whether you went budget or premium. So at the end of the day, here's the takeaway. Budget tires absolutely have their place. If your car's mostly doing city driving, nothing too demanding, and you're working with a tighter budget, a well-reviewed budget option will get the job done, and get it done well. But if you're putting down highway miles, dealing with heavy rain or snow, or you've added some power to your build, that's where it's worth setting aside more for a set from a proven brand, because that difference shows up exactly when it matters most. In an emergency stop, in bad weather, or hitting a pothole you didn't see coming. And if you've already decided which way you're going, budget for everyday driving, or premium for more performance and confidence, don't put it off. The tires we covered in this video have direct purchase links right here on screen, and pinned down in the description. Just click, compare, and buy with confidence. No more bouncing from shop to shop. If you want a specific recommendation for your car and how you drive, just reach out. This has been another showdown between cheap and expensive tires. Hope you learned something. Catch you next time.